Loving people installed their limiting thoughts and beliefs, their software into you. Because most things in life are caught, not taught. You catch them.
Wow.
어떤 식으로 목표를 설정을 해야 더 잘할 수 있을까요?
보통 사람들이 설정을 하는데 에러들이 많아요. 한계 설정이 되어 있는 상태인지 모르고 목표를 세우거든요.
한계 설정이 되어 있는 상태인지 모른다.
You know, I was one decision away from changing my life the whole time. One choice. And he'd say, Eddie, you're not as far away from these dreams as you think you are. And I'd say, really, Dad? And he'd go, no, you're actually a lot closer than you think. But because you think it's so far away, you behave in accordance with that belief system, and it always keeps it that far away from you.
How do we bring our dreams closer to us?
That's a great question. The first thing is you need to believe and know that you're one decision, one relationship, one meeting, one book, one thought, one something away from a completely different life. And when you know that, then you begin to look for them, called the matrix. And your matrix is your reticular activating system in your brain. It's the filter for your entire life. Okay, and this filter reveals to you the world that's in front of you. Again, an example of it is, I like what Musk is doing. So I just bought a Tesla. And so I bought this Plaid, and all of a sudden, man, everywhere I go, there's Teslas. Do you notice this?
Everywhere. Oh,
They're
yeah.
everywhere. I'm like, whoa,
I see them everywhere.
Another way, 3 lanes over, other side of the road, freaking Tesla. This is crazy. They were always there.
Yeah.
Why didn't I see them before? Because they weren't part of my RAS. How to slow down time and create the matrix of your life. When you make the Teslas of your life, those relationships, those meetings, those thoughts, those encounters. You can very easily do this, but there's a process of repeated visualization you do that's not complicated, and it will shift you. Here's how most people's frame works. They don't have an RAS program, they're not intentional, so they keep getting, if the things most important to you are your worries, fears, anxieties, problems, bills, you will continue to have people, places, and things revealed to you that confirm it. And if you operate out of your memory and your history, if this is your pattern, your framework, you will continue to find those things. You need to learn to operate out of your imagination and your dreams. This is a different framework for life. Imagination is different than dreaming. Imagination causes you to create dreams and thoughts that never happen. When you imagine something, you create a space. Once you have a thought, this is powerful. When you have a thought, you create a space that did not exist in the world before you had that thought. And that space now exists. And the way your brain works and your life works, it tries to furnish that space, whether it's a negative or a positive thought. It starts to hear things it wouldn't hear. That's why, like, when you're in a crowded room and they say, Lewis, you can hear Lewis auditorily over all the noise. Why? It's in your RAS. It's why you see the Tesla, okay? So the key thing is being able to operate out of this imagination. Why is imagination so important? When you were a child, 3, 4, 5 years old, you were probably happier than you are right now. Why? You operated out of your imagination. You didn't operate out of a history and a memory because you didn't have one. And slowly over time, by the time you were 10, 11, 12 years old, loving people installed their limiting thoughts and beliefs, their software into you. Because most things in life are caught, not taught. You catch them.
Wow.
And so now you're starting to operate out of history and memory, and you repeat it, and your RAS begins to see the things that reinforce that history and memory. And so you basically have the same life over and over again. My dad used to say to me, every call, bro, till the day he died, and I'm 50 years old, he could blah, 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 whatever we're talking about. Last thing he would always say to me, be careful. Be careful. What the heck? And I go,
careful with what?
I don't know. I never knew. But what is that programming from the time you're 8 years old? Be careful. Hey, go to school.
Watch out.
Be careful. So with that, it operated out of this fear thing, right? All of that, I need to be careful, I need to be careful. But don't make this risk, don't take that business decision, don't start a podcast, don't get on that stage and speak, don't do this, don't do that. You say that to an already unconfident, insecure person. He meant it lovingly. By the time I'm 50, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, be careful. He didn't even know he was saying it to me. But what was he doing? He was installing, God bless him, his limiting beliefs into me as a little boy. So a lot of these things that you believe, you were defenseless when you started to believe them. They were installed in you by loving people who were around you.
Right.
And even though your life may look differently, your emotional home, the 4, 5, 6 emotions you experience pretty regularly, so you need to look at your emotional home.
그게 무슨 얘기예요?
뭔가 되고 안 되고 할 수 있고 없고가 자신이 생각하는 어떤 기준이 있잖아요. 근데 그 기준이 대체적으로 자신의 원래의 기준이 아닌 외부에서 주어진 기준으로 갖고 그 기준점을 갖고 사는 사람들이 많아요. 쉽게 말해서 제가 학생들한테 매번 물어보는 건데 명문대 가는 거 쉬워 어려워? 하면 다들 어려워요 뭐 이렇게 합창하거든요. 돈 벌기 쉬워 어려워 하면 다 어려워요 이런 식으로.
명문대 가는 거 쉬워요 어려워요? 어려워요. 돈 버는 거 쉬워요 어려워요? 어려워요.
이미 할 수 없다는 무의식, 잠재의식이 할 수 없다는 쪽으로 이미 90%가 갔기 때문에 그 다음부터 뭘 하려고 해도 그 안 되는 한계 설정에서만 자신의 힘이 나올 수밖에 없다는 그 근본적인 에러가 있는 거죠. 확실하게 고치기 위해서라도 무의식에 관련된 지식을 갖추셔야 되고, 이게 안 된다는 사람들이 자꾸 나한테 공포감을, 두려움을 심어준 것이니까 네. 정말 되게 증명한 자들의 지식을 자꾸 습득하고 그걸 내면화하는 그런 훈련을 계속 하셔야 되는 겁니다.
What do you think is the biggest things that hold all of us back from achieving our dreams faster?
Well, one is the proximity to it. We really do believe it's further away. Like, we honestly believe this thing is like a 20-year thing, and so because we believe that, we keep it there and we miss out on these, you know, possibilities in our life.
그러니까 한계 설정을 절대 하지 않았어야 된다. 네. 근데 먼저 한계 설정을 해놨기 때문에 어떤 노력을 해도, 어떤 목표를 세워도 네. 그 안에서만 변변치 않은 그죠? 목표가 나오고 네. 이게 참 슬픈 일입니다. 이렇게 많이 살고 있는 거.
If you don't have self-confidence, you've never kept the promises you make to yourself. Check that box. If you have self-confidence, you've started to keep the promises you make to yourself. If you want to have superhuman self-confidence, you keep the promises you make to yourself and one more. So if I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out, I'm going to do 10 reps in the gym, I do one more. Wow. If I'm going to do 45 minutes on the treadmill, I do one more. If I want to make 10 contacts in a day, I do that and one higher standard. Because in life, we don't get our goals, we get our standards long term. And so if your standard is one more, what starts to happen is you go, I'm willing to do things other people aren't willing to do, and I combine that I have great faith, great associations. This is a formula to build wonderful self-confidence and never lack humility when you have it.